I, 36-year-old male, am currently having a disagreement with my wife, 35-year-old female, about leaving my dog with her uncle while we go on vacation. This started when my therapist suggested that me sitting home alone all the time. I work from home, wasn't helping me, post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety from being an emergency room psychiatric nurse, and that I should get a dog. I've never had a dog before, so I figured I'd try it. My first attempt, the puppy had a birth defect and died after a month of having it. And I was devastated. No one knew about the defect until the puppy had passed away. My wife convinced me to give it one more try, which led to me getting Sadie, my Newfoundland puppy. This dog has been life-changing, better than any antidepressant I've ever had. My blood pressure is down, I've lost weight, I don't have nightmares anymore since she wakes me up if I have one. I train her, I walk her twice a day, we go to group classes for dog training once a week, I brush her, I take her out to the park. She's amazing and she's the sweetest animal I've ever seen. I can go out in public with her without feeling like I'm about to be attacked by something. My therapist suggested training her as a service dog since I qualify for one if she was this helpful. So I'm doing that. However, she isn't fully trained yet as she's only a year and a half old. Well, I was going to go on vacation and my sister was going to watch the dog for me since my wife wanted some time just the two of us without the dog. I was okay with this when she was going to be at our house with my sister, but my sister's husband got transferred to another state, and now they can't watch her. My wife suggested I leave her with her uncle, who has a Newfoundland and a fenced-in yard. I can't do it. The amount of anxiety I have over something happening to her is insane. She's the perfect dog right now, and I'm terrified something is going to happen, and I'm going to lose her, and then have to go back to what life was like before I got her. I was miserable. No amount of meds helped me. No amount of exercise or eating right made any difference. It was soul-crushing, and now that I'm better, I would do anything to never feel like that again. I know it sounds insane, but I had totally given up on ever feeling like a normal person again. And then I got Sadie, and suddenly I felt like I was me again. I can't even begin to tell you how much of a difference having Sadie has made in my life. My wife insists everything would be fine, and that I'm being a crazy person for not wanting to leave the dog alone to go on vacation. But she understands and says she won't force the issue if I really have a problem with it. But I feel like a serious piece of shit for picking a dog over a vacation with my wife. I told her to give me some more time and let me finish her service dog training, but she wants me to go on this vacation, just the two of us. And I'm just horribly uncomfortable leaving her with some stranger I've never even met, in a place I've never even been. So would I be the jerk for refusing to go? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Soft, you're the idiot. I know a lot of people won't like me saying this, but I think that someone has to. As much as Sadie has helped improve your life, she isn't your partner. Your wife is. She is the one that has stood by you through this marriage, for better and worse. To me, that means she deserves a lot more consideration than you're giving her. She's certainly more important than a dog can be, regardless of how special Sadie is to you. Now, don't get me wrong. I have pets of my own, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. There are times when I feel those little hairballs have helped save my sanity with the nonsense that I have dealt with over the years, just as Sadie has done for you. But I would never put them above my husband, who is the one that I chose to spend my life with. Not the animals. Comment 2. You're the idiot. You haven't even bothered to mention how your wife is feeling about anything. It's probably been miserable living with you, and this might be a breaking point. It sounds like she's been just as much of a prisoner to your anxiety as you have, and being denied this vacation might be the last straw. And it's plain weird to suggest her uncle is some stranger. The fact that you claim to be willing to board her with some random kennel, but not her uncle, shows you're just throwing up obstacles. Once the dog is trained, there will be another reason you can't leave the basement. Let your wife live her life. Now, for the update. Thanks for all the comments from my last post. So here's what's happened since then. After my last post, my wife and I had a long talk about the vacation and Sadie. She was really understanding, but also stressed how important it was for us to spend some quality time together. I agreed, but the anxiety about leaving Sadie with her uncle was still eating me up. We decided to visit her uncle's place to see if it would ease my worries. When we got there, her uncle was really nice, and his Newfoundland Max seemed friendly enough. The yard was big and fenced in, just like my wife said. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something might go wrong. I tried to explain this to my wife, but she just didn't get it. She thought I was being overprotective and paranoid. We left her uncle's place with no real resolution, and the tension between us was clear. A few days later, I got a call from my therapist. She suggested that maybe I should try a short trial run, leaving Sadie with her uncle for just a day or two to see how it goes. I thought it was a good idea, so I brought it up with my wife. She was hesitant, but agreed it might help me feel more comfortable. We arranged for Sadie to stay with her uncle for a weekend while we stayed at a nearby hotel. The first night was rough. I couldn't sleep, constantly worrying about Sadie. My wife tried to comfort me, but I could tell she was getting frustrated. The next morning, I called her uncle to check on Sadie. He said she was fine, but I could hear Max barking in the background, and it made me anxious. I wanted to go pick her up right then, but my wife convinced me to stick it out for the rest of the weekend. When we finally picked up Sadie, she seemed okay, but I noticed she was a bit more subdued than usual. Her uncle said she had a great time, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. My wife thought I was imagining things, but I knew Sadie, and she wasn't herself. The next few days were tense. My wife and I barely spoke, and I was constantly watching Sadie for any signs of distress. One night, I overheard my wife talking to her sister on the phone. She was venting about how my anxiety was ruining our relationship and how she felt like she was competing with a dog for my attention. It hit me hard. I knew I had to make a choice. I decided to talk to my therapist again. She suggested that maybe I should consider postponing the vacation until Sadie was fully trained as a service dog. That way she could come with us and I wouldn't have to worry about leaving her behind. I brought this up with my wife, but she was not happy. She felt like I was putting Sadie before our marriage and that I was using the service dog training as an excuse. We had a huge fight. She accused me of not caring about our relationship and being obsessed with Sadie. I tried to explain how much Sadie meant to me and how she had changed my life, but my wife just couldn't understand. She said she felt like she was losing me to a dog and that she didn't know how much longer she could take it. I was torn. I loved my wife, but I couldn't imagine going back to the way things were before Sadie. I knew I had to make a decision, and it wasn't going to be easy. I decided to postpone the vacation and focus on finishing Sadie's service dog training. I hoped that once Sadie was fully trained, my wife would understand and things would get better. The fallout from this decision was immediate. My wife was furious and felt betrayed. She started spending more time away from home, staying with her sister or going out with friends. I could see our relationship falling apart and it broke my heart. But I couldn't give up on Sadie. She was my lifeline and I needed her. During this time, I started to reflect on my relationship with my wife. I realized that we had been drifting apart long before Sadie came into the picture. My PTSD and anxiety had put a strain on our marriage, and Sadie had been a temporary fix, not a solution. I knew I had to address the underlying issues if I wanted to save my marriage. I decided to start couples therapy. I brought it up with my wife, and surprisingly, she agreed. She said she still loved me and wanted to make things work, but she needed to feel like she was a priority in my life. I promised her that I would do everything I could to make that happen. In therapy, we started to unpack the issues that had been building up over the years. My wife opened up about how my PTSD and anxiety had affected her and how she felt like she was always walking on eggshells around me. I realized that I had been so focused on my own struggles that I had neglected her needs and feelings. We also talked about Sadie and how she had become a symbol of my recovery. My wife admitted that she was jealous of the bond I had with Sadie and felt like she couldn't compete. I explained how much Sadie meant to me and how she had given me a sense of purpose and stability. We both agreed that we needed to find a balance between my need for Sadie and our need for a strong, healthy relationship. As we continued therapy, things started to improve. My wife and I began to reconnect and find common ground. We made a plan to finish Sadie's service dog training together so she could come with us on future vacations. My wife also started to bond with Sadie, which helped her understand why she was so important to me. Looking back, I realized that the situation with Sadie was a wake-up call. It forced me to confront the issues in my marriage and take action to fix them. I'm grateful for the progress we've made, but I know we still have a long way to go. For now, I'm focusing on finishing Sadie's training and rebuilding my relationship with my wife. Thanks for reading. Am I the idiot for locking my room after my sister trashed my stuff and my family thinks I'm overreacting? For context, I am an 18-year-old female and I have a younger sister who is 15 years old and often uses my belongings. She borrows my makeup, clothes, and other purchases that I have made. I do not have a problem with her using my things, but the issue I have is that she is not careful and frequently ends up breaking or ruining them. Here are some memorable incidents that have occurred. One time while I was out, she used my gaming computer to play games with her friends and accidentally spilled water all over my keyboard. As a result, my keyboard was ruined and I had to spend money to buy a new one. 2, on another occasion, she borrowed my motorcycle helmet so that she could go go-karting with a boy she likes. Instead of using the available public helmets, she decided to use mine and ended up returning it with scratches on the visor. 3, whenever she returns clothes that I lent her, they are either stained or stretched out. For example, I once let her borrow a pair of white sweatpants and she gave them back to me with coffee stains down the left leg. I have talked to her numerous times about the importance of taking care of other people's belongings, but it seems to have no effect. Anyway, things reached a breaking point last week when I came back home after hanging out with my friends. When I went to wash my face in the bathroom, I discovered that my makeup was scattered all over the place, including the floor. The makeup items were not arranged on the shelf in the way I had left them, and some bottles were even left open and placed on their sides. Additionally, my makeup brushes were dirty. One of the shades in my eyeshadow palette was completely ruined, and she had somehow torn the sponge part of my foundation applicator. To top it off, she had also used up my $45 concealer, which was not brand new but still had plenty of product left. After organizing everything, I went into my sister's room and scolded her for not only using my makeup without permission, but also for destroying some of it. Our parents overheard the commotion and came to check on us. My dad dismissed it as just makeup and said that I could buy more. I responded by listing the prices of my makeup items. He simply replied, "Don't buy expensive makeup." On the other hand, my mom agreed with my anger and took me shopping to replace everything. Since then, I have started locking my bedroom door whenever I am not present, and I keep the key with me. Every time my sister texts me asking for the key, I respond by sending her photos of the damage she caused to my makeup. She complained to our dad, who scolded me for behaving like a child. I told them both that if she wants to use my things instead of getting her own, then she should start paying me until I am confident that she will not break everything she touches. My friends say that I am justified in my actions, but the story has reached my extended family. I have received texts from my aunts and uncles who believe that family is supposed to share, especially since she does not have a job like I do. They think I overreacted. So am I the jerk in this situation? In addition, my mom suggested that we check my sister's room to ensure that she did not take anything else without permission. We discovered a lot of items that I thought I had misplaced, such as a perfume bottle and a deodorant bottle from my birth country that I can only find when I visit. I also found hair ties that I thought had gone missing. They are purple and easy to identify, a few tops, and even some of my Formula One caps, even though she does not watch the sport. My mom helped me take everything back to my room and put them away. Now we will see if my sister notices. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Family doesn't have to share everything. Some things are yours. Just wait until your entitled little sister starts using your dad's razor to shave her legs or something like that he values and is expensive. Just wait. You will see him have a fast change of heart about sharing. It's only a matter of time until little sis does something like that. Just wait and see. Not the idiot, and at least your mother is on your side. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your sister is of an age where she should be considerate of your things. She's not 8 years old where her getting into your makeup and ruining it is a genuine mistake. You are completely right to disallow the use of your things and locking your room to prevent her from effectively costing you money. Your dad should be scolding the child that is causing issues. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post. So after I started locking my door and keeping the key with me, things were relatively calm for a few days. My sister was clearly annoyed but didn't say much. Then one evening, I came home to find my dad waiting for me in the living room. He had a serious look on his face and told me we needed to talk. He said my sister had been really upset and felt like I was being too harsh. He suggested that I should try to find a middle ground. I was frustrated because I felt like he was always taking her side, but I agreed to think about it. The next day, my sister came to me and apologized. She said she understood why I was mad and promised to be more careful. She even offered to help me clean my room as a peace offering. I was skeptical, but decided to give her a chance. We spent the afternoon cleaning and organizing my room, and for a moment, it felt like things might actually get better. But then a few days later, I noticed my favorite necklace was missing. It was a gift from my grandmother, and it had a lot of sentimental value. I immediately suspected my sister, but when I confronted her, she denied taking it. I was furious and told her I didn't believe her. She started crying and ran to our parents. My dad was angry with me for accusing her without proof, but my mom suggested we search her room again. We found the necklace hidden in one of her drawers. My sister broke down and admitted she had taken it because she wanted to wear it to impress her friends. I was livid, but my mom stepped in and said we needed to find a solution that worked for everyone. She suggested that my sister should start earning her own money to buy her own things. My sister reluctantly agreed, and my mom helped her find a part-time job at a local cafe. In the meantime, I decided to take a different approach. I sat down with my sister and explained how much it hurt me when she ruined my things and took my stuff without asking. I told her about the sentimental value of some of my belongings and how it felt like she didn't respect me. She seemed to genuinely understand and promised to do better. A week into her new job, my sister came to me and handed me $20. She said it was a start towards paying me back for the makeup she ruined. I was surprised and touched by the gesture. It felt like she was finally starting to understand the value of money and the importance of respecting other people's belongings. However, things took a turn when my sister's friends started coming over more often. One day, I came home to find them in my room, using my makeup and trying on my clothes. I was furious and kicked them out. My sister was upset and said she just wanted to show her friends how cool her big sister was. I told her that if she wanted to impress her friends, she needed to do it with her own stuff, not mine. That night, my mom and I had a long talk. She shared some stories from her own childhood about how she had a similar relationship with her younger sister. She said it took years for them to find a balance, but they eventually did. She encouraged me to keep trying and to be patient with my sister. The next day, my sister came to me with a proposal. She suggested that we set up a system where she could borrow my things, but only if she asked first and promised to take care of them. She also offered to do extra chores around the house to make up for any damage she might cause. I was hesitant, but agreed to give it a try. Over the next week, things started to improve. My sister was more careful with my belongings and always asked before borrowing anything. She even started saving up her own money to buy her own makeup and clothes. It felt like we were finally making progress. One evening, my sister came to me with a small gift. It was a new eyeshadow palette to replace the one she had ruined. She said she had saved up her tips from the cafe to buy it for me. I was genuinely touched and thanked her. It felt like a turning point in our relationship. But before I tell you more about that, there's something else you need to know. My sister confided in me that she had been feeling a lot of pressure from her friends to keep up with their lifestyles. She said she felt like she had to borrow my things to fit in. It made me realize that she wasn't just being careless. She was struggling with her own insecurities. We had a long talk about self-worth and the importance of being true to oneself. I shared some of my own experiences from high school and how I learned to stand up for myself. It felt like we were finally connecting on a deeper level. Since then, things have been much better. My sister has been more respectful of my belongings, and I've been more understanding of her struggles. We've even started spending more time together, doing things we both enjoy. It feels like we're finally finding a balance. Thanks for reading. Am I the idiot for refusing to invite my bully to my wedding party and causing family drama? My fiancé, 29-year-old male, and I are getting married in August. It is a tiny ceremony with only my parents and his two closest friends in attendance. We are then holding a party a couple of days later, where the wider family is invited to come and celebrate with us at a local venue. We have struggled a bit with the guest list. His mother isn't invited, and various other people who we either don't like or don't really speak to. It's not exactly an exclusive event, but we have prioritized the people we care about most. It's not a huge venue, so we can't invite everyone. The issue is that my eldest cousin's girlfriend bullied me when we were teenagers. We were best friends since nursery, but when we started secondary school, she, for no reason I am aware of, told me she didn't want to be seen with me anymore. I don't want to go into detail about it, but her bullying caused me to have an eating disorder so severe I was taken to the hospital and received treatment. She made horrible comments about my body and got other people to join in as well. This went on for years. After we left secondary school, it stopped. I have seen her a few times since. I have not made conversation, but given her a polite nod and left it at that. She hasn't tried to talk to me, and she has not apologized. I know it may be silly to hold on to something that happened so long ago, but I still receive therapy today for the issues caused by the bullying I experienced. I have not invited her to the party, as I don't want anyone there who has said those kinds of things about me and done the things that she has done. My cousin has unfortunately said this means he will not be coming. This also means that my aunt is very upset and feels we are being unreasonable, and she is also threatening to not come unless we extend the invitation to her as well. My family does not know everything she has done. They think it is just silly teenager bickering, but it was so much more than that to me. I am feeling really conflicted about it, as I do want my cousin there. He is one of my favorite family members and does mean a lot to me. Am I being unreasonable? Should I suck it up for one day and let her come? I know it may be silly, but I just don't know what to do. My dad thinks if I don't want her that I shouldn't have her there, as it should be about me and my soon-to-be husband. My mom wants me to keep the peace and keep the family together on what she feels is a very important day. I just don't know what to do. My fiancé says it is entirely my decision, as the experience is mine, and therefore it could only be my decision. Am I being a jerk by not inviting her? Should I cave and let her come to keep everyone happy? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the jerk. I guarantee you would regret her being there more than you'll regret your cousin, and even your aunt, not being there because they support someone who was so horrible to you. This is your day and your party. You do not have to invite anyone who would dampen that. Look, your fiancé apparently doesn't want his mother there, and you're supportive of that choice. Completely not the jerk. Enjoy your party. Comment 2, not the jerk. You don't need your former tormentor at your small wedding celebration. Maybe it wouldn't be a big issue if 200 people were going to be there. And even then, I wouldn't invite her. Invite those you want. They can come or not, and don't debate it anymore. People who go along to get along end up eating a lot of shit in life. Congratulations on your upcoming marriage. I hope it's wonderful. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading. So a lot has happened since I last wrote about the wedding guest list dilemma. After much deliberation, I decided to stick to my guns and not invite my cousin's girlfriend. I felt it was important to prioritize my mental health and well-being, especially on such a significant day. My cousin was still upset and confirmed he wouldn't be attending the party. This caused a bit of a rift in the family, and my aunt was vocal about her disappointment. She even went as far as to say she might not come either, which added more stress to the situation. A few days later, I received a call from my cousin. He wanted to meet up and talk things through. I agreed, hoping we could find some middle ground. We met at a local cafe, and the conversation started off tense. He reiterated how important his girlfriend was to him and how he felt it was unfair to exclude her. I explained my side again, emphasizing the trauma and ongoing therapy. He seemed to understand a bit better, but was still adamant about not coming without her. Then I made a mistake that changed everything. In an attempt to find a compromise, I suggested that maybe his girlfriend could come to the party, but not interact with me at all. I thought this might be a way to keep the peace without compromising my comfort too much. My cousin seemed relieved and agreed to this arrangement. I felt a bit uneasy, but hoped it would work out. Word got around quickly, and my aunt was thrilled. She called to thank me and said she was looking forward to the party. My mom was also relieved, thinking this would smooth things over. However, my dad was skeptical and warned me that this might not be the best idea. My fiancé supported my decision, but reminded me to prioritize my feelings. As the week went on, I started to feel more anxious about the party. The thought of seeing her again, even with the agreement in place, was unsettling. I tried to focus on the wedding ceremony, which was beautiful and intimate, just as we had planned. My parents and my fiance's friends were there, and it was a perfect day. But the party was a different story. As soon as my cousin and his girlfriend arrived, I felt a knot in my stomach. She didn't approach me, but I could feel her presence, and it brought back a flood of memories. I tried to stay engaged with other guests, but my anxiety was obvious. My cousin seemed happy, though, and my aunt was all smiles, thinking everything was fine. Then things took a turn. I overheard my cousin's girlfriend making a snide comment about my weight to another guest. It was like a punch to the gut. I felt all the progress I had made in therapy unraveling. I excused myself and went to the bathroom to collect my thoughts. My fiancé noticed and followed me, offering support. He was furious and wanted to confront her, but I asked him not to. I didn't want to cause a scene. I decided to leave the party early. I felt defeated and regretted my decision to let her come. My fiancé and I went home and I broke down. He comforted me, and we talked about how to handle the situation moving forward. I realized that trying to keep the peace had only caused more harm. The fallout from this was significant. My cousin called the next day, apologizing for his girlfriend's behavior. He admitted he hadn't realized how deeply her past actions had affected me. He said he would talk to her, but I told him it was too late. The damage was done, and I needed to focus on my healing. My aunt was upset again, but this time I didn't care. I had tried to accommodate everyone, and it had backfired. My mom understood and apologized for pushing me to keep the peace. My dad was supportive and said he was proud of me for standing up for myself, even if it didn't go as planned. This whole experience made me reflect on my past and the impact of the bullying. I remembered a time in secondary school when I had tried to confront her about her behavior. She had laughed it off and told me I was too sensitive. That moment had stuck with me, and I realized I had been carrying that hurt for years. It wasn't just about the party, it was about reclaiming my sense of self-worth. I also thought about my cousin and his relationship with her. He had always been a kind and supportive family member, but his blind spot for her behavior was troubling. It made me question how much he really understood or valued my feelings. I decided to take a step back from that relationship for a while, focusing on those who truly supported me. In the end, I learned that sometimes you can't please everyone, and that's okay. My wedding and the party were supposed to be about celebrating love and happiness, and I needed to prioritize that. Moving forward, I'm committed to setting boundaries that protect my mental health, even if it means making tough decisions. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.